Spain is a living mosaic of sunlit plazas, ancient stones, and vibrant regional cultures. 10 surprising facts reveal how history, cuisine, and daily life weave into one captivating story. From architectural wonders and Moorish legacies to festivals that flood the streets with color and late-night meals shared with friends, you'll see how traditions shape modern life. These moments illuminate the rhythm of Spain, bold, diverse, and endlessly surprising. Stick with us to uncover the threads behind the 10 facts and discover a country that feels ancient and alive at the same time. First fact: Spain is one of the most visited countries in the world. Spain is one of the most visited countries in the world. Its appeal starts with a remarkable variety of landscapes that lets travelers swap sun-kissed beaches for snow-dusted peaks in a single trip. The climate shifts with the season, offering mild winters along the coast and warm summers in the south, making it a year-round destination. Cities teem with life, while rural villages offer quiet corners and traditional crafts. The country also has a long tradition of hospitality that welcomes travelers with relaxed service and strong local flavors. Visitors are drawn to world-class art and architecture, lively street life, and cuisine that makes each region feel distinct. In major cities, you can wander through old neighborhoods, browse modern museums, and enjoy tapas that pair with regional wines. The culinary scene ranges from fresh seafood on the coast to hearty stews inland, with markets where locals shop and visitors sample tiny bites as they stroll. Outdoors, you can hike in the Pyrenees, cycle along coastal paths, or explore volcanic landscapes on the islands. Spain's travel infrastructure makes getting around easy. It has several international airports, plus a dense rail network that connects cities quickly. The high-speed rail system links long stretches of the country, letting travelers move from city to city with comfort. Within a region, car rentals, buses, and ferries open up islands and coastal towns, while well-designed public spaces and pedestrian-friendly streets add to a smooth experience. Regional diversity adds another layer of appeal. In Catalonia and the Basque Country, people speak languages besides Spanish, and that linguistic variety is visible in street signs, shops, and cultural events. The Balearic and Canary Islands offer year-round sunshine and distinctive local flavors, attracting different kinds of visitors at different times. Festivals, markets, and flamenco performances provide lively snapshots of Spanish life that enrich a visit beyond the usual sights. Second fact: Spain has more bars per capita than almost any other country. Spain has a remarkably dense bar culture, with bars lining streets and filling neighborhoods from the oldest quarters to modern centers. These places are more than places to drink. They are social hubs where neighbors catch up after work and friends linger over small plates. Tapas culture ties the drinking and eating together, turning every visit into a shared ritual. People order a few dishes and pass them around. That practice encourages conversation and makes casual stops feel like tiny social events. Regional variations show up in bar menus, with Basque pinxos in the north and heartier Iberian snacks in other regions. Some bars specialize in wine and vermouth, others in beer and traditional snacks. This abundance supports a flexible, community-driven lifestyle, where evenings are social opportunities rather than routines. Small, family-run bars thrive on repeat visits and word of mouth. Open late, they invite those who want to unwind, talk, or simply watch the street life go by. Third fact: the Spanish language is spoken by over 500 million people worldwide. More than 500 million people speak Spanish worldwide, placing it among the globe's most widely used languages. That reach shapes everyday life in homes, schools, and workplaces, and it colors media, technology, and travel. Beyond Spain, Spanish anchors daily life across many countries in the Americas and beyond. In Spain and across Latin America, it is the everyday tongue for conversation, education, and community events. In countries with large Spanish-speaking populations, like the United States, Spanish interacts with local languages in dynamic, bilingual contexts. There are many dialects and regional flavors. In Spain, Castilian Spanish shares the stage with Latin American varieties, and pronunciation patterns can differ quite a bit. A notable distinction is the sounds of Z and C. In Standard Castilian, they are pronounced as a soft th, while in most Latin American dialects they sound like an S. Pronoun usage also diverges, with vosotros common in parts of Spain and ustedes favored across much of Latin America. The language also welcomes local words and phrases, which makes cuisine terms, music slang, and everyday expressions feel regionally alive. The cultural footprint is visible in everyday life and global media. Spanish-language music, films, and books reach audiences far beyond their original homes, enriching diverse cultures with shared storytelling. Language learning and translation services support travel, education, and business, helping people connect across continents. Even digital interactions reflect the reach, as social media, apps, and customer service often offer Spanish options to serve a global audience. Spanish functions as a bridge that links communities, traditions, and everyday experiences worldwide. Fourth fact, Spain produces nearly half of the world's olive oil. Spain produces nearly half of the world's olive oil, a share that shifts with harvest results but remains consistently dominant in global production. The lion's share comes from Andalusia, where rolling hills and sun-soaked valleys cradle vast groves. Jaén, Córdoba, and Malaga are among the most productive provinces, shaping landscapes as much as markets. The oil has a cultural footprint as deep as the trees themselves, weaving into regional cuisines, festivals, and daily routines. Olive trees thrive in Spain's climate, tolerating heat and drought better than many other crops. The harvest usually begins in late autumn and can run into winter, depending on weather conditions. Growers often combine hand-picking with mechanical shakers and tree-shaking systems to gather fruit efficiently. Once collected, olives go to mills where the oil is extracted through mechanical processes, often marketed as cold press or cold extraction to preserve delicate flavors. Picul is the most planted olive variety in Spain, producing oils with a robust, peppery character. Arbequina yields a milder, fruitier oil and is widely grown in Catalonia and Aragon. Hojablanca offers a green fruity profile with a balanced bitterness, while Cornicabra and other regional varieties contribute their own distinctive notes. The result is a spectrum of oils, from light and silky to bold and pungent, all suitable for different dishes and tastes. Quality labeling helps guide choices. Look for Aceite de Oliva Virgin Extra as the top grade, and pay attention to denomination of origin or protected geographical indication marks that signal regional character. In the kitchen, Spanish olive oil is versatile, used for drizzle over vegetables, finishing stews, and enriching tapas. A bottle sits on many tables, ready to add depth, aroma, and color to everyday meals. Fifth fact, Spain has an official daily siesta tradition in many regions. The midday pause, commonly called the siesta, remains a recognizable feature in many regions of Spain. It isn't mandated by nationwide law, but it has shaped daily life for generations, especially where summers are hot and temperatures soar. In inland and southern areas, shops and offices often close for a stretch after lunch, inviting people to rest and reset. Visitors may notice streets quieting during the hottest hours before the evening bustle begins again. The core idea revolves around a substantial midday meal, the comida, followed by a break that makes room for family time or a quiet moment at home. Today, in large cities, the shorter lunch pause means some workplaces start the afternoon shift without a long home pause. Yet the feeling of a slow, heat-filled afternoon endures in many towns and neighborhoods, where cafes fill with locals taking a short break and people stroll through shaded streets. Small towns tend to keep a two-part day, with a long lunch and a later return to shops and offices. Public spaces often become social hubs during the siesta. Plazas and shaded benches invite neighbors to chat, friends to meet for a quick coffee, or families to rest after the noon meal. The rhythm influences restaurant patterns too. Many places serve meals early and then resume service later in the evening, aligning with a late dining culture that welcomes sunset as the real start of the night. The idea of doing the siesta lives in language and daily practice, even when work schedules push people toward continuous afternoon activity. Regional variation remains strong. In Andalusia, Extremadura, and parts of Murcia and Valencia, you'll still encounter shutters down and businesses closing for a clear midday pause. In Madrid and Barcelona, the two-shift pattern is common but not universal, and many workplaces function with shorter closures or no strict siesta at all. Tourism influences the landscape too, with hotels and restaurants adapting by offering extended lunch service or shifting dinner later, so visitors can experience local life without feeling rushed. The tradition survives as a cultural fingerprint, shaping routines even as modern life nudges people toward faster, more continuous days. Sixth fact, the world's oldest restaurant is located in Madrid. Casa Baton in Madrid holds a singular claim. It is recognized by Guinness World Records as the world's oldest continuously operating restaurant. The place was founded in 1725 by the Baton family and carries the name Sobrino de Baton, a nod to its early days. It sits in Madrid's historic center, not far from Plaza Mayor, where generations of locals and visitors have sat down to eat. The building itself feels like a quiet piece of living history, with its narrow streets and centuries-old charm surrounding the dining rooms. One of the defining features is the wood-fired oven that has heated the kitchen for centuries. The kitchen keeps the flame alive and the air fragrant with smoke and wood, creating a distinctive backbone for every dish that leaves the kitchen. Roast suckling pig and roast lamb are the house specialties, prepared to order and served with simple, honest sauces that let the meat speak for itself. The heat is steady, the crust crisp, and the aroma unmistakable, a kind of edible time capsule that travelers remember long after leaving. Inside, the rooms blend brick arches, dark wooden beams, and white plaster walls to evoke Madrid's long-gone eras while still feeling welcoming. The dining spaces remain intimate rather than grand, encouraging a relaxed, unhurried meal shared with tables that have hosted many generations. A second generation of cooks and servers keeps the tradition alive, balancing respect for the past with attention to contemporary comfort and service. Today, visitors arrive from around the world to taste the signature dishes and to experience Madrid's culinary continuity. Booking ahead is wise, especially for dinner on weekends, and staff are ready to guide guests through the classics like cochinillo asado and cordero asado. If you want a practical tip, start with the pig and then savor the lamb, giving yourself time to enjoy the kitchen's timeless technique. This is more than a meal. It's a living piece of the city's food heritage. Seventh fact, Spain has one of the largest high-speed rail networks in Europe. Spain's high-speed rail network, known as Avenue, is among the largest in Europe. It links Madrid with Barcelona, Valencia, Seville, and Zaragoza, stitching together a fast and reliable corridor across the heart of the peninsula. Trains on these routes prioritize comfort and space. They offer generous seating, ample luggage storage, and direct services that cut down transfers, letting travelers move quickly between major urban and cultural centers, while onboard catering is available on longer journeys and the views slide past in changing landscapes. Boarding is straightforward at the main hubs. Madrid Atocha, Barcelona Sants, Valencia Joaquin Sorolla, Seville Santa Justa, and Zaragoza Delicias are the busiest gateways, and the stations themselves act as modern entry points to vibrant city life. Ongoing expansions keep widening the map. The network supports day trips, business travel, and tourism by offering fast connections between coastal cities and inland towns, reshaping how people explore and experience Spain. Eighth fact, flamenco is recognized by UNESCO as intangible cultural heritage. Flamenco has been recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage, which means it is treated as a living, evolving practice rather than a fixed museum piece. This status highlights the deep connection among singing, guitar, and dance. It underscores how cante, toque, and baile intertwine with everyday life in communities across southern Spain and beyond, influencing gatherings, rituals, and personal expression. The recognition also draws attention to the people who sustain it. Flamenco is not a single performance, but a family of styles, known as palos, each with its own tempo, mood, and vocal pattern. Common palos include bolerias, solia, alegrias, tangos, and seguerillas. Cante, singing, baile, dance, and toque, guitar, are taught and learned through apprenticeship, often in family homes, schools, and intimate tablaos. Performance is a living dialogue, not a recital. UNESCO recognizes flamenco's role as a social art that travels across generations, with teachers, families, and communities passing techniques, rhythms, and emotional expression from one performer to the next. This transmission happens in informal gatherings, studios, and during festivals. Seville's fervent cante and dancing scenes, the flamenco districts of Jerez and Granada, and the broader Andalusian network contribute to its vitality, while modern artists keep expanding its reach and forms. The result is a worldwide phenomenon rooted in local practice. Today, flamenco is experienced in many settings from picturesque tableaus to street performances, teaching programs, and international collaborations that respect tradition while inviting innovation. The UNESCO label helps communities protect and sustain the practice. Photographers capture the intensity of cante and baile, tourists attend shows with headphones or immersive experiences, and scholars study rhythmic cycles that define each palo. For practitioners, the recognition affirms a shared cultural identity. Ninth fact, Spain has 47 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Spain has 47 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. They span urban ensembles, monumental complexes, sacred landscapes, archaeological areas, and natural reserves. The mix shows how culture, history, and landscape intertwine across the country. From medieval streets to futuristic neighborhoods, from rugged coastlines to serene forests, the sites reveal a spectrum of Spanish life. Each designation highlights a story that remains visible in streets, markets, and daily rituals. The result is a country where heritage is a visible part of everyday experience. One of the best known is the Alhambra, along with the Generalife and the surrounding Albaycin Hills in Granada, a place where fortress, palace gardens, and narrow lanes tell a layered history. The works of Antoni Gaudí in Barcelona form a singular chapter of architectural imagination, with the Sagrada Familia and Parc Güell standing as examples. Other sites mark historic cities and cross-currents of cultures, such as the historic center of Córdoba with its great mosque cathedral, the old city of Toledo with its medieval weave, the historic center of Salamanca with its prized university, and the old city of Segovia with its iconic Roman aqueduct. Natural areas include Dinana National Park, a wetland ecosystem that hosts migratory birds, and Garagine National Park on La Gomera, famed for its Lori Silva cloud forest. The Altamira Cave and Paleolithic cave art of northern Spain adds a window into prehistoric creativity, while the routes of Santiago de Compostela trace the historic pilgrimage across northern Spain. The archaeological site of Atapuerca is recognized for its important fossil record as well. UNESCO designation helps protect these places from overdevelopment and encourages restoration and responsible tourism. Local communities participate in conservation and interpretation, and schools use the sites to teach history and culture. Visitors learn about architectural techniques, crafts, and regional traditions connected to the sites. The designation also supports research, training, and educational programs that keep heritage relevant for new generations. In practice, the list becomes a living map of Spain's diverse identities, from Moorish influences and Roman layouts to modernist experiments and rural landscapes. Because new sites can be added over time, the total isn't fixed and can grow. Being on the list attracts funding for preservation and creates opportunities for study and exchange. People travel to see how legacies endure in stone, water, and streets that still pulse with daily life. The 47 sites together tell a story of coexistence among kingdoms, faiths, crafts, and nature. They invite curiosity without demanding it, offering tangible connections to the country's past and present. 10th fact, Spaniards usually eat dinner very late compared to other countries. Spaniards tend to eat dinner much later than people in many other countries. The evening meal typically begins around 9 o'clock and can stretch past 10, especially in bigger cities or on weekends. By contrast, lunch is usually the main meal of the day, eaten around 1 or 2 in the afternoon, with a lighter snack in the late afternoon called merienda. The late dinner rhythm aligns with a long daylight window and a culture that values social time after work. Evening life often centers on the meal. People meet for tapas around 8, sharing small plates before committing to the main course. Families gather after work and school lets out, then sit down together once more. Restaurants typically stay open late. It is common to see patrons arriving well after 9. The conversation flows easily as courses arrive, and coffee or dessert commonly arrives at the table with the final bites. Regional differences add flavor to the habit. Coastal cities with active nightlife often push dinner to 9 or 10, sometimes later on weekends. In rural towns, you may notice a slightly earlier pattern, but dinner still tends to start after 8. In tourist areas, patience is rewarded because many eateries keep long hours to accommodate late arrivals from abroad. The habit has become part of the rhythm of daily life rather than a strict rule, allowing people to tailor dining to work, weather, and company. Understanding this can help visitors and residents plan better. If you want a quiet dinner, aim for 8 or before, but know that many places won't serve the full menu until 9. In practice, a late-night stroll after a meal is common, ending the evening with a drink or ice cream in a plaza. For families with children, weekends are when the late dinner becomes most visible, while weekdays can see earlier seating for school night routines. The pattern persists because it fits the climate, social habits, and the way chores and work are organized in Spain. Today we wrap up our look at 10 interesting facts about Spain. Spain is a tapestry of 17 autonomous communities and several official languages beyond Castilian Spanish, including Catalan, Basque, and Galician. Flamenco, with its guitar, singing, and dance, remains a defining expression of Andalusian culture. The Moorish era left its mark in monuments like the Alhambra in Granada and the Mezquita of Córdoba. Gaudi's imaginative architecture in Barcelona, especially the Sagrada Familia, stands as a bold chapter in modernist design. The Camino de Santiago offers a millennial journey that ends at Santiago de Compostela. Tapas turn meals into social rituals, where friends share small dishes late into the evening. Festivals unfold across the year, from Seville's Feria de Abril to Pamplona's San Fermin and La Tomatina near Valencia, showcasing color, music, and tradition. Spanish cuisine shines with jamon iberico, olive oil, and seafood, as regional dishes reflect coast and countryside. The country ranges from the Pyrenees in the north to sun-drenched beaches and island groups like the Canary Islands and the Balearic Islands. And Spain's cultural heartbeat extends into literature and art, from Cervantes' Don Quixote to the works of Picasso and Dali. In short, the 10 facts illustrate Spain's regional diversity, vibrant music and architecture, historic pilgrimages, social dining, festive celebrations, diverse cuisine, varied landscapes, and lasting cultural influence. Which fact surprised you most? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. In our next episode, we'll dive deeper into Spain's regional flavors, how Galician seafood, Basque pinchos, and Andalusian tapas reflect local life and history.